Well, good afternoon and welcome to Live Impact News here on 13 News Now Plus, 1 o'clock p.m. on April 27th. It is a Monday afternoon. We're easing our way into the week. We already have multiple live events setting up right now, including a White House press briefing that, of course, comes just 2 days following the shooting at the hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was taking place, a shooting that has been followed up by information and reporting that certainly tells us and indicates that this was an attempted assassination on high-ranking members of the Trump administration and President Trump himself. So we will go to that press briefing as soon as that kicks off. Now, in the meantime, we say hello and happy Monday to the People's Producer, Nia Campbell.
Happy Monday.
Nia Campbell has received a round of applause from Hunter Forst,
which we highly appreciate.
Who is also here. Hello, Hunter.
Hey.
Now, right before, can I air out some dirty laundry here?
No.
Oh, God.
Now, right before we went to air, just as I was about to do our intro, I heard Nia say to Hunter, hey, don't touch that microphone. Oh. What was going on over there? You were trying to jump in and do the intro.
Sometimes I just like to go up to it and hold on.
Yeah.
And I guess you can kind of hear a rattle or something.
But you can hear him clicking on it.
A little clicking. Okay. Nia Campbell.
I'm not into ASMR.
Well, listen, Nia saves us once again
She does.
from a clunky microphone situation, but you can go ahead and do whatever you need to do now because it is your time to shine, my friend. It is time for a little Monday forecast.
You know, I do have to say, if Nia wasn't here, in front of Connor and I right now, there'd be flames.
Well, you guys wouldn't even know because we wouldn't have gotten the show started.
We wouldn't. It would be on fire in here.
Yes, if we did not have Nia Campbell, she is. She's our firefighter.
She's our firefighter.
Yes, yes.
Firefighter. I was having a hard time saying that.
Now, speaking of fire, we've been having some severe drought conditions in the area.
We have, but we did see a little bit of rain.
Nothing on that segue?
What'd you say?
No.
It was pretty good.
Thank you. That's one of my top all time. That might be one of the better segues I've ever had. Go ahead, Hunter. I did kind of ruin it.
We were talking about firefighter, and then you said we've been having a drought.
Burn bans because in drought conditions, fire can more easily spread.
I thought you were making something like a joke, and I didn't catch it.
No, that's no joke. I was doing a segue.
I missed. Anyway. Anywho, that is right, Connor. We are still in a moderate to severe drought across Hampton roads, but if you look at this, we did have 3 days of measurable rainfall, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Woo.
It wasn't a whole lot, about 0.4 of an inch for all those 3 days combined, but measurable rain nonetheless. And so far for the month, all of this adds up to about 0.95 inches of rain. So under an inch of rain for the entire month so far, and we average over 3 inches. So not really close to where we should be, but at least we got a little bit.
And the month is not yet over, and there may be more rain to come, no?
There is a chance for some more rain on Wednesday.
Okay.
And that's really the best shot of some rain for the work week, and then maybe a bit on Saturday as well. But yeah, I can't believe April's coming to a close.
Certainly not enough rain to make up for, what we've experienced here with this drought situation.
Certainly. And not looking like we'll see much today.
Okay.
As you could tell, plenty of sunshine out there. A few people going for a nice stroll on the beach. It's still a bit breezy outside. Gusts, 20 to 25 miles an hour today. And we're in the upper 50s to low 60s. But a couple degrees warmer compared to yesterday by about 4 to 9 degrees. Yesterday was cool, cloudy, breezy, misty. It was a nice day to kind of chill.
Cool, cloudy, breezy, and misty. Okay, very good.
But I'll give you a lowdown on the 7-day forecast.
We are actually going to have to stop you there, Hunter. I apologize because Caroline Leavitt has just taken the podium at the White House with updates on this weekend. Let's go live out to Washington, D.C.
To yet another attempt on President Trump's life. Saturday was supposed to be a joyful evening, celebrating free speech and the First Amendment with all of you, members of the press. Instead, the night was hijacked by a crazed anti-Trump individual who traveled across the country to assassinate the president and as many administration officials as possible. This is the third major assassination attempt against President Trump in 2 years. No other president in history has faced such repeated, serious attempts on his life. First and foremost, the President, the First Lady, and everyone in this White House are extraordinarily grateful to the brave law enforcement professionals who sprang into action to apprehend the would-be assassin and keep all of us safe. The President would especially like to express his gratitude to the men and women of the United States Secret Service who acted with the utmost professionalism, courage, and sense of duty. This includes the heroic agent who took a bullet to the chest. Thankfully, he was saved by his bulletproof vest. Minutes after returning here to the White House to the Oval Office, despite fighting Secret Service to try to stay and keep the dinner going on Saturday, ahead of addressing you here in the briefing room, President Trump was intent on speaking to this brave agent to ensure he was okay, and the agent assured the president that he was. As you know, I was seated next to President Trump and the First Lady when the shots were fired before Secret Service swiftly moved us to safety backstage. The president's calm in the face of chaos, while yet another individual was trying to take his life, was really remarkable to witness, and it's something I will never forget. President Trump is fearless because he loves this country, and he is willing to put his own life on the line to deliver on the promises that he made to the American public who elected him here into the highest office in the land. And while we are blessed to have a fearless president, we should not live in a country where such constant fear of political violence permeates our society every single day. We can and we should have fierce disagreement in this country. As you all know, we disagree often, myself in this role and all of you in the news media, but those disagreements must remain peaceful. Debating, peaceful protesting, and voting are how we need to settle disagreements, not bullets. Nobody in recent years has faced more bullets and more violence than President Trump. This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. This hateful and constant and violent rhetoric directed at President Trump day after day after day for 11 years has helped to legitimize this violence and bring us to this dark moment. Those who constantly falsely label and slander the president as a fascist, as a threat to democracy, and compare him to Hitler to score political points are fueling this kind of violence. The left-wing cult of hatred against the president and all of those who support him and work for him has gotten multiple people hurt and killed, and it almost did so again this weekend. When you read the manifesto of this shooter, ask yourselves, how different is the rhetoric from this almost assassin than what you read on social media and hear in various forums every single day? The answer, if you're being honest with yourself, is that there is no difference at all. Much of the manifesto of the would-be assassin is indistinguishable from the words that we hear daily from so many. For example, as the First Lady of the United States pointed out this morning, just 2 days prior to the shooting, ABC's late-night host Jimmy Kimmel disgustingly called First Lady Melania Trump an expectant widow. Who in their right minds says a wife would be glowing over the potential murder of her beloved husband? And having experienced what I did with the First Lady on Saturday night, I can tell you that she was anything but that. This kind of rhetoric about the president, the First Lady, and his supporters is completely deranged, and it's unbelievable that the American people are consuming it night after night after night. As President Trump said on Saturday night at this podium, we as Americans must recommit ourselves to resolving our differences peacefully and uniting around the shared values that make our country great. The deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things, and they are inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop. And one more point. Saturday night served as yet another reminder of how important it is to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It is shameful that the United States Congress has kept this vital agency defunded for 73 days. The longest shutdown of a federal agency in U.S. history. The Secret Service is a vital component of DHS. It has been directly impacted by this reckless political gamesmanship. Everyone in this room who was there on Saturday night witnessed the heroes of Secret Service and federal law enforcement jump into action in the face of grave danger and uncertainty. Agents put their own lives in harm's way to protect the president, the First Lady, the Vice President, and members of the cabinet. One agent can be seen in video footage literally jumping onto the stage, not knowing where the attacker was or where the bullets were coming from at that point, to place his body in front of the President of the United States. These men and women are heroes. They perform their duties daily, and they have children and families too. And they do it despite the political turmoil surrounding their agency. Make no mistake, this defunding of DHS should be a national scandal. If Republicans defunded DHS and we saw another attempted assassination on a Democrat president, I would hope that the media coverage would be relentless and unforgiving, and I hope that it continues to be now. With the World Cup, America 250, the 2028 Olympics, and a presidential election all ahead, the Democrats' obstruction is placing an enormous and totally pointless burden on the Secret Service that can get more people killed. Enough is enough. There should be no further debate about this. Democrats need to do what President Trump has been calling on them to do for 73 days in a row and fund the Department of Homeland Security, period. This is a national emergency, and every member of Congress needs to put their country over party and get the Department of Homeland Security funded. With that, I will take a few of your questions today. Daniel, thank you for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Caroline. The president, Saturday after the assassination attempt came here, he emphasized that law enforcement did their job, keeping everyone safe at dinner. House Speaker Mike Johnson came out and said he believes the president needs greater protection. What is the White House's message to the millions of Americans who wake up here today nervous, uneasy about the safety of the president at events like this and the safety of other cabinet members?
Well, we certainly understand their fears and their worries. As you heard from the president himself, he continues to have trust in the United States Secret Service. As I just said, these are great men and women who are doing their jobs and performing their duties honorably. As we all witnessed on Saturday evening, within minutes, the president, the first lady, the vice president, members of the president's cabinet were ushered out of the room. The perpetrator who sought to inflict massive harm, as we all now know with the release of the manifesto on administration officials and the president himself, was stopped at the security perimeter that was set up. He tried to charge through it, as you saw on video, and he was quickly neutralized by Secret Service, and thank God that he was. With that said, obviously the White House is always asking the tough questions and ensuring the safety of the president. I understand there will be a meeting early this week convened by the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles with top DHS leadership, members of the United States Secret Service, and our own operations team here to ensure the safety and the security of the president, as we do have many of these major events moving forward. So we're always monitoring operations and procedures, always asking the tough questions to ensure the president is safe, and the American people should be assured there's no higher priority for the president and his staff than the president's safety.
Caroline, Friday you said that you thought that gaggle out of the sticks would be your last one for your baby. Back in 2024, when the president had the attempt on his life in Butler, you cut your maternity leave short back then. You're obviously back here today after Saturday. Can you just elaborate a little bit why you felt it was important to be here, to bring to the media and talk to the American people from the stand?
Sure. It's sort of crazy timing when you put it that way for both children with 2 assassination attempts against the president. I'm honored to work in this job. I view this job as the president's spokesperson and the White House spokeswoman as public service. It's not just any job. I'm honored to do it, and I'm honored to work and speak on behalf of President Trump, who has faced unprecedented adversity and challenges, and I'm honored to work for him. And again, as I witnessed on Saturday night, just his dogged resolve and determination to get back onto the stage, and he was pushing Secret Service and law enforcement to allow him to address, and that really, I think, hopefully gives the country the type of strength that we need. And I certainly know, as his spokeswoman, and I can speak on behalf of all of the staff here at the White House, the president inspires all of us to just keep going and keep fighting every day. Thanks, Daniel. And congrats to you on your new baby. He's beautiful. Aisha.
Just on the rhetoric, you mentioned the First Lady and Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's comments were, Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. And he said this days before the shooting, but there does seem to be a normalization of rhetoric about assassinating this particular president. How can this administration try to put an end to this?
Well, I think you heard it directly from the president on Saturday night, Aisha, that in his words, we need to recommit ourselves as a country to toning down the rhetoric and to unifying around what makes our country great. That's true of everyone who works in this White House, but as I said, it's also true of everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen, and when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things. And unfortunately, it's not just the media, it is the entire Democrat Party has made their pitch to voters across the country that Donald Trump poses an existential threat to democracy, that he is a fascist, and that they compare him to Hitler. I mean, these are despicable statements that the American people have been consuming for years. And so many mentally perturbed individuals are led to believe these words are truth and then are inspired to act on it. I have a whole host of examples that we can share with you after. It is pages and pages of major Democrat Party elected officials saying, such as Rep. Hakeem Jeffries just this month, said, "We are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere all the time." Governor Josh Shapiro said heads need to roll within the administration. Senator Alex Padilla said people are, quote, dying because of fear and terror caused by the Trump administration. Senator Elizabeth Warren, President Trump is making the country look like a, quote, fascist state. Senator Adam Schiff saying President Trump using a dictator playbook. Senator Ed Markey calling President Trump a dictator, saying that this administration's actions are authoritarianism on steroids. Governor J.B. Pritzker, never before in my life have I called for mass protest disruptions. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. You have Rep. Presley saying, "We'll see you in the streets." Rep. Monica McIver, a Democrat representative on Capitol Hill, "We will not take this shit from Donald Trump. He thinks he's a dictator. We are at war." These are Democrat elected officials calling for war against the President of the United States and his supporters. I could go on and on, but again, when you have people in positions of power that are saying things like this every single day for years, you are inspiring violence by people who are already mentally ill. And that's what we've seen against this president for far too long.
This is disinformation and misinformation online. There will be bite-sized clips that will go viral to the point where there are Americans in this country that believe that what happened Saturday night was staged. How does this White House tackle that with social media companies out there, whether it's X, Facebook, Instagram? How do they work with these companies to make sure that doesn't get out of control?
It's certainly a good question, Aisha. I don't have tangible answers for you on what we're doing with social media companies, if anything at all. What I will say is it's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible to dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see running rampant online. And I think the Department of Justice and the FBI thus far have done a good job of disseminating the truth and the facts about this alleged attempted assassin, the perpetrator in this case, and I understand he'll be arraigned in court very soon. You all see that, and the Department of Justice will be giving a briefing and an update later today. So as far as we're concerned, just providing maximum transparency, and hopefully people will believe the truth rather than the lies and the conspiracies that so often do go crazy on social media. Rachel.
Thanks, Caroline. Does the administration view this as a security failure, or did the protocols work as they were designed?
The president has said he believes that the protocols worked. Again, you had a perpetrator who tried to breach the security parameter that was set up by Secret Service, and he was running as fast as he could and was immediately neutralized moments later. And again, having been right up there on the stage with the president and the first lady, I can tell you it was seconds before we were told to get down, and it was seconds before we found ourselves in the hold room backstage. It all happened literally within a matter of seconds. The president, the vice president, and the first lady being pulled to safety. That is not done if there's a lapse. So Secret Service did their jobs well. They communicated with one another to remove the president and the vice president to safety as quickly as they could, and obviously to neutralize the shooter as well. And thank God they did, because if that man was allowed into that ballroom, it would have been a much different scene.
And just one more follow-up on just how the White House could be rethinking security protocols going forward. I mean, we all remember after the attempted assassination in Butler, there were indoor rallies that were held after that. Is that out of the question, changing any additional security protocols when it comes to how the president does these events that are outside of the White House?
I definitely wouldn't say changes are out of the question. I think, again, that it's up to the White House here, and we view it as a great responsibility to ensure the maximum safety of the president and the vice president and the entire cabinet. And so we're always looking for ways to improve security. I think if you just sit here and say everything is perfect all the time, that's not a good way to operate. And so the White House will continue to engage with DHS and with Secret Service to find ways to improve and strengthen security. But as far as Saturday night is concerned, the president was satisfied with the response, and he's very grateful to the men and women who provided the response for him and his wife and members of his team. Deanne.
Thanks, Caroline. The president has talked about rescheduling the dinner within 30 days. Does he have a specific venue in mind, and would he consider hosting it at the White House?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a room big enough here at the White House, which is another point to be made, and the president is absolutely right. It's why the White House Ballroom project is not just a fun project for President Trump, like you will read in the media. It is actually critical for our national security that a larger, secure building on this complex, which is the most secure complex in the world, is built to accommodate not only large amounts of guests, but also the president, the vice president, members of the cabinet. The line of succession in this country should be able to gather freely in safety without the fear of threats or political violence. And the White House Ballroom will provide that. And so it's critical that we get this project done as quickly as possible.
Iran as well.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. Two questions, if that's all right. First, on the security situation on Saturday, kind of a follow-up here. Previous administrations have sent both the president and the vice president to the dinner. But after the foiled attack on Saturday, if the dinner is rescheduled, would President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance both plan on attending? And is it wise to have both of them in the same spot, given the presidential line of succession that you mentioned a second ago?
It's definitely a good question, and I know that it's one that will be raised. I can assure you the president intends to attend the event, as he has told all of you publicly. I don't want to rule in or out the vice president's attendance, but certainly that's a conversation that will take place.
Iran has proposed a mutual reopening of the Strait, leaving the nuclear discussion for later in the process. Given that the nuclear program has been a red line for this administration, would the president agree to that kind of phased negotiation?
Well, only because it's been reported. I will confirm the president has met with his national security team this morning. The meeting may be ongoing, maybe not. I don't want to speak affirmatively because I was prepping to come out here, but the proposal was being discussed. I don't want to get ahead of the president or his national security team. What I will reiterate is that the president's red lines with respect to Iran have been made very, very clear, not just to the American public, but also to them as well.
So they're considering that approach?
I wouldn't say they're considering it. I would just say that there was a discussion this morning that I don't want to get ahead of, and you'll hear directly from the president, I'm sure, on this topic very soon.
I'm going to ask you about the Fed chairman, but first, 3 assassination attempts in 3 years. Is this going to change the type of events that the president goes to?
Well, again, that's going to be part of the conversations moving forward. But as you heard from President Trump, he does not want these deranged lunatics and these grave acts of political violence to change our American way of life. And I think it's a very brave thing for him to say. It'd be very easy for him to just hunker down here at the White House where he knows he's safe, but the president wants to be out across the country. He wants to go across the country to meet with Americans. He wants to celebrate the 250th birthday of our nation's anniversary this summer. As you know, we're gearing up for a big UFC fight here on the South Lawn. So there's many exciting events I know the president wants to be part of and will be part of moving forward. He's undeterred in that way, and it's something that inspires all of us here to keep going.
Senator Tillis is now dropping his objection to allowing Kevin Warsh to be confirmed because the DOJ has closed their investigation. Is the president satisfied that an inspector general report into the Federal Reserve is enough to look into these renovations?
The president understands that the inspector general has greater tools at their disposal, perhaps even more powerful than a grand jury, to continue investigating the financial mismanagement of the Fed building, which is a priority for the president. Look, he's a builder himself. When he sees something has a lot of cost overruns, is taking too long, and in this case ripping off the American taxpayer, he wants to get to the bottom of it. I understand Senator Tillis put out a statement saying he'll support Kevin Warsh's confirmation. That has been our position all along from day one. He is more than qualified for the job, and we look forward to working with the Senate on his swift confirmation process. Megan.
As a follow-up on Warsh, will the president be satisfied once the Fed's inspector general finishes that investigation, even if it finds no evidence of wrongdoing?
Well, that's a hypothetical question. I'll let the president speak on it when we see the results. It's obviously far too early to say.
And relatedly, as a follow-up, now that it looks like Warsh will be confirmed by the end of Jay Powell's term, is he still considering firing Jay Powell if he stays on as governor after that?
I haven't talked to him about it specifically, but I think the president will be satisfied once Kevin Warsh is confirmed as the Fed chair, which he should be. Karen.
On Iran, the president had said last week that the U.S. has started the process of clearing the Strait of Hormuz of mines. Do you have an update on how many have been removed and an estimate of how long that process could take?
I don't, but I would defer you to the Pentagon on that. We'll make sure they get you an answer, Karen.
It's an ongoing process, though. It's still actually happening right now.
Again, I would defer you to the Pentagon on anything with respect to clearing mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
Thank you very much. I know that you said that the White House is reviewing the security protocols for things that could be done differently in the future. Have you identified anything so far that you would like to see done differently, or ask the Secret Service to make any changes in the security protocols for the president, particularly at these large events that are taking place off the White House campus?
Not yet, no, but as I said, there will be a meeting here at the White House in the earlier half of this week, so those conversations will take place.
All right. As is to be expected, an immense amount of questions about security, Secret Service, and safety protocols, especially with so many big events coming up. That press briefing is ongoing. We need to take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we will dip back in to that press briefing if it's still going on, and we've got plenty to cover based on what was noted in that briefing. For now, a commercial break. Okay, welcome back to Live Impact News. Now, the press briefing at the White House is over. It ended almost immediately after we went to commercial break. I believe that the question being asked when we came back into the studio was the last question. Let's just very briefly go over some of what we heard in that press conference. Obviously, an immense amount of questions about the attempted breach and the shots being fired during the White House Correspondents Association dinner on Saturday night. And of course, Cole Thomas Hallen has been taken into custody after the shooting on Saturday night. He's being charged in a federal court in Washington. We did hear from Caroline Leavitt that I do believe he will be arraigned today. Yes, the perpetrator will be arraigned in court very soon, according to Caroline Leavitt in that press conference. Okay, what else did we hear there? In terms of the security situation, she did say that President Trump is feels good about the Secret Service, right? That he continues to have trust in the Secret Service. That was the exact phrasing. President Trump continues to have trust in the Secret Service. She did add, however, that there will be a meeting with the White House Chief of Staff, the Secret Service, their own operations team, and others in order to secure future safety for the president. So there will be a meeting, but he does still have trust in the Secret Service. And there was also comments about how the Department of Homeland Security shutdown could be impacting the Secret Service. There was also plenty made of all of the major events that are coming up here in the United States, the World Cup, America 250, the 2028 Olympics, and how there's a continued push for safety protocols. But again, she also stated the president believes that the safety protocols worked, that the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, was in fact stopped in his ultimate attempt. Shots were fired again at the hotel, but there were no injuries and nobody passed away from those shots. So again, the president has trust in the Secret Service and the security protocols. With that, though, comes a meeting in the future between the White House and Secret Service. We'll see what comes out of that particular meeting. Now, there also was another mention of the ballroom. Much was made, at least in terms of reporting, on the fact that after the shooting at the hotel, President Trump took to the podium at the White House and commented within that time frame, within that speaking engagement, that this is why we need a ballroom. President Trump has been trying to get a ballroom built at the White House, and it has been somewhat controversial in terms of its use of resources and time. But Caroline Leavitt today, President Trump on Saturday night, both saying that this is why a ballroom project is needed. It's not just a fun project, it's critical for national security. So the ballroom once again brought up in questions and answers about this the political violence that happened on Saturday night. That ballroom has continued to be a talking point for administration officials. There was a question about monitoring social media, especially in the wake of this assassination attempt, all of the misinformation and disinformation. And Caroline Leavitt said that there was no answer at this time on what they're doing when it comes to social media. Don't have tangible answers on what we're doing with social media at all, but that they are working to make sure they have all of the accurate information in regards to this shooting. So a lot of topics definitely brought up. I mean, this White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting has led to a number of different sort of angles in terms of how to approach this situation. Another one is political violence, the question of political violence and increased political violence. Caroline Leavitt and President Trump both saying that the sort of rhetoric, that we need to recommit ourselves as a country to toning down the rhetoric, that coming from the Trump administration in regards to how politics and politicians are spoken about and any harsh rhetoric that may be used. The administration, Trump and other officials saying that that rhetoric needs to be toned down. So we'll see if we actually see any of that going forward. I'm trying to make sure that I have, there may be a rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner. It may be rescheduled. Who went or who will be in attendance, when that could happen, we do not know. So that is, I think, the large majority of questions and answers about that particular, about Saturday night. Let's go ahead and move on to news we got today out of regional officials that are dealing with the war in Iran. We did see reporting, we have seen this morning that Iran has made an offer to open the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for the United States lifting its blockade on Iranian ports and an end to the war. As was stated in the White House press briefing, not included in that proposal is a solution on Iran's nuclear program. President Trump has stated time and again that Iran not having nuclear capability is a major goal of this war. Instead, in this particular peace offering, Iran has proposed for those discussions to happen at a later phase as opposed to the immediate opening of the Strait of Hormuz. So we'll see if that proposal is accepted. Caroline Leavitt said that the president has met with the national security team this morning and the proposal is being discussed, but she did not give any hint as to whether or not the administration would be accepting this proposal or negotiating upon it, just that there was a meeting this morning. Okay, that was quite a bit of talking. We are going to take a brief commercial break, and when we get back, more live events, and we have the conclusion of your weekly forecast. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News on 13 News Now Plus. We are going to kind of go forward by going backwards here, and we do so by re-welcoming Hunter Forst back to Live Impact News. Hunter, what would you say is the most significant way in which your life has changed since we saw you last?
I had a meeting.
How'd it go?
It went really well.
What kind of stuff?
I just you give a little, what's going on with the weather.
Yeah.
The producers.
Okay.
And the managers, and this is for the evening shows.
Nice.
So, it helps the producers kind of help put together the show.
Listen, this is great for us because it means you got a little warm up for this moment on Live Impact News because we want to know what's going on with the weather.
And what I said was, it's going to be a chilly day, or it's already, it's already 1:30, so we know it's chilly out. We're going to be about 10 to 12 degrees below average. In the low 60s. We should be around 74 for this time of year, but we'll get into right around 62 degrees. But overall, plenty of sunshine. Not too bad. It's comfortable out. Satellite radar's looking good out there. Not a whole lot going on. But there has been a lot of severe weather out towards the west. Across the plains, Midwest, upper Midwest, it has been brutal the last couple of days. This is, I believe, the third day of some severe weather. There's actually, I believe, what was that? Was that a tornado warning right near St. Louis? Oh, my gosh. Right in downtown St. Louis, there's a tornado warning.
That's happening right now?
Yeah.
Wow, that's the first you're seeing of that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you know who's in St. Louis right now?
Who?
Craig Moeller.
Craig Moeller is. I was wondering where he was this morning. Okay,
he's visiting his family out there.
Definitely thoughts are with Craig Moeller and his family.
A good time for a meteorologist to be out there with his family. I'm sure they're all knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Because Craig is there. So that's a good time for him to be there. But
where Craig goes, the weather follows. You know?
Exactly. But I mean, see, there's a level 4 out of 5 threat for some severe weather out there in the dark red.
Now that sounds scary. That is right over the city.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, it's not too crazy. But we'll have to see. But yeah, there's been a ton of severe weather out there over the last couple of days. So this is the severe threat for today. This is for tomorrow. So level 2 out of 5 threat, Memphis, Jackson, Nashville, Dallas. But on Wednesday, dun dun dun, we do have a level 1 threat out of 5 for some severe weather here in Norfolk, up into D.C., down through Raleigh, Roanoke, and Charleston, West Virginia. Again, right now it's only a level 1 out of 5 threat. So it's not a huge threat for some severe weather, but you could see, you know, a severe storm or two. We'll see if they upgrade it as we head into tomorrow or Wednesday, but right now it's just a level 1.
What do we expect to see? What kind of severe weather?
More, I would say more so just some gusty winds.
Gusty winds, okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. Almost the entire state of Virginia, though.
Yeah.
The southwest corner just escaped, but this weather is just right on our viewing area.
Yeah, the whole Hampton Roads area, eastern North Carolina, under that level 1 threat. And like you were saying, Connor, pretty much the entire state of Virginia. But
and
today,
we're hoping for a little rain still.
And yeah, you know, we need the rain. So hopefully, you know, you don't want to see the severe weather with it, but you do get a lot of rainfall in severe storms. You get heavy, heavy rain. So, you know, it's kind of a give and take. But hopefully we won't see, you know, anything too wild. Heading into this evening, we'll be in the mid to upper 50s to right around 60. And tonight, it's going to be chilly. Look at that.
This is 6 a.m. tomorrow.
30s.
And it's always interesting to me how it shifts. So look at Virginia Beach, still kind of hanging out, just holding on to 50 for dear life there.
That's the water
That's
for
the
you.
water.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it gives you a little extra warmth. But then you go just west, and Suffolk is down in the 30s.
39. Brr. But it warms up pretty quickly heading into the mid to late morning. Upper 40s to low 50s, probably by the time you're heading off to work. And by the afternoon, we'll be in the upper 60s. Could we reach the low 70s in a few spots? Certainly. We'll see an increase in cloud cover heading into Tuesday afternoon and evening, but staying pretty dry for most of the day. Maybe a sprinkle in our northern spots, but that's really about it. By Wednesday morning, it's a comfortable start to the day, mid to upper 50s to right around 60 degrees. It'll be a mostly sunny start to the day. We'll see an increase in cloud cover heading into the late morning and afternoon. But by 1, 2 o'clock, we could see some scattered showers rolling on in. It's not going to be, you know, a washout of a day, but in the afternoon, you certainly have the chance to see some scattered showers, maybe a few breaks here and there. And then Wednesday evening, again, could see another round of some showers and storms moving on in. And again, some could be strong to severe. And then it's looking like by Thursday, rain chances start to go down again. But here's a look at that 10-day temperature trend. Below average every single day except Wednesday. Upper 60s to right around 70 degrees. Even into next weekend, which I just learned is Winefest.
Winefest this weekend, but Taylor told us this morning it might be okay.
It might be cool.
It might be a little cool,
Which
but
is fine.
Yeah, you can make it work. It's great. Rock a sweater, you know, maybe a little something like that. Maybe still be able to do some shorts as long as you have a sweater.
You know, and first of all, first weekend of May this weekend.
Yeah.
Crazy. And the May sun, when it's in the upper 60s, is hot. So you know what? It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Hot may be a stretch, but warm.
Yes.
But yeah, here's another look at overnight lows. Brr! 47 in Norfolk, 46 Virginia Beach, 39 in Franklin, 38 in Boykins, 39 in Chesapeake. Get your sweaters. but I will be opening up my windows, I'll tell you that. Eastern Shore, 48 in Cape Charles tonight, 48 in Hampton, 48 in Matthews, 44 in Williamsburg. Ahoskie, 38 for you, 45 in Hertford, 51 in Kill Devil Hills. Again, another look at tomorrow, mid to upper 60s to low 70s, a mix of sun and clouds. Increase in cloud cover heading into the evening. Overall, not a bad Tuesday. Bit warmer than today. But again, rain chances going up by Wednesday. We'll see some showers and storms in the afternoon and evening. Maybe a shower or two Thursday morning. Friday, not bad. 70. Could see a few showers on Saturday. We'll see how that plays out with Winefest. But Sunday's looking good for right now. I know it's both days. So Sunday, for right now, may be the better day. But the shower chances on Saturday are kind of flip-flopping.
A little flip-floppy, but let me just say, I've been to a wine fest when it rained, and it's one of my favorite wine fests I've ever been to.
When it wines, it pours.
When it wines, it pours.
I kind of just made that up.
Was
that good?
I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. I liked it.
Thank you.
I liked it. When it wines, it pours, and there's lots of tents out there. You can get under the tents with everybody. If it's a bad stretch, then you come out and it's a little cooler.
Right.
You can walk down to Waterside if you need a reprieve.
Yeah, that's true.
Lots of options.
And you know what they say, Connor?
What?
At the end of the day ends.
I really could not wait to see where that was headed, and it did just kind of end up going in a circle. There wasn't a whole lot of places for us to go.
That's my
Now,
favorite saying right now.
Everybody watching at home may be wondering something right now. Okay, you guys are like, boy, Hunter has great energy. This is Monday energy that is unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
He's really just in a flow state here, and that is because why?
I don't know.
It's because today's your Friday.
Yeah, Friday times 2, I suppose.
Today you're off for the next 2 days.
No.
Oh no, I thought you were off Tuesday, Wednesday this week.
I'm just off Tuesday.
Oh, you're back on Wednesday.
Back on Wednesday.
All right, so still a day off tomorrow in your future.
Yeah.
We can't be upset about that.
No,
Hence
you
the
can't.
great energy. One more time with your catchphrase before we get out of here.
Before the day end, or what is it? What did I say?
It's your catchphrase.
You know, at the end of the day, Connor, the day ends.
And our time with Hunter has ended for today. He is out of here, but he will be back on Wednesday with more of these wonderful Hunter forecasts for us.
When it wines, it pours.
Very nice. Two catchphrases for Hunter Forst. He's a man worthy of a second catchphrase.
Thank you.
You know that. Now, we're going to go to a quick break here. When we get back, while we've been doing weather and White House, there were 2 live events going on, including one specifically related to the World Cup in New Jersey and New York. That's something that the security of which has been a part of the story of what we saw this weekend in Washington, D.C. So let's go to commercial break. When we get back, we're going to explore those 2 events coming up next. Okay, welcome back to Live Impact News here on 13 News Now Plus, 1:52 p.m. We're closing in on our second hour of our first stream of the week here in the Live Impact studios. And let's kind of go over another event that's happening today that includes a couple of different layers of intrigue. King Charles III, of course, the head of the royal family in Great Britain, is actually coming to Washington, D.C. starting today for a 4-day trip. This is the first time since 2019 that he'll be here visiting. President Donald Trump has at times been vocal in his sort of admiration for the royal family. Now, obviously, the shooting that happened on Saturday has created a renewed sense of focus on security at events just like this. But the 4-day state visit is reported to carry on as usual and is intended to celebrate the United States' 250th anniversary. So, King Charles III is headed to Washington, D.C. Now, this happens in the midst of what appears to be a bit of a separation of perspective between the UK government and President Trump and his administration over how things have gone with the war in Iran. Okay, President Trump has criticized Prime Minister Keir Starmer out of the United Kingdom over his unwillingness to join in on the U.S. attacks on Iran. He has dismissed the leader as, quote, not Winston Churchill. Of course, Winston Churchill, a very famous prime minister from the World War II era, who was, basically instrumental in the history of the 20th century. And, the United Kingdom issues with Donald Trump kind of fit into the issues between NATO as a whole and President Donald Trump. He had repeatedly encouraged NATO allies to get involved in the war in Iran, and it's something that did not happen to his liking, did not occur in the way that perhaps he had hoped. So there is a bit of an issue there, a bit of a sense of disagreement there, a sense of disconnect maybe is the best way to put it, between the Prime Minister and government in the United Kingdom and Trump and his administration here in the United States. Could a visit like this help to ease that tension? I mean, while most of it is ceremonial, it is something there, so what level of diplomacy will there be involved here? Could this open up a sort of a warming period for the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom, and the United States and NATO? That remains to be seen. Again, the president has spoken very highly of the royal family, of King Charles. He's referred to the monarch as a friend and a great guy. He had a trip to the United Kingdom in September in which there was friendship stated between the two of them. Now, Keir Starmer did hand deliver the invitation from the king in the Oval Office 5 weeks after Trump returned to the White House in what was seen as sort of a public attempt at peace offering or a show of unity between the two nations. Again, that was before the war in Iran took place and everything that happened publicly regarding the relationship during that conflict. So that is where things stand right now. Hopefully that was a relatively clear summary, as we're still waiting for King Charles' arrival to be published on one of our live boards, but it's something we'll certainly look out for. Now, speaking of international relations, the World Cup is this summer in North America. It is one of the most significant sporting events in the world and one of the most significant collections of people from all over the globe in one place. And obviously, it creates an incredible privilege, but also an incredible strain on the cities that are hosting this event. And again, it's something that, similar to this visit from King Charles, fits into somewhere well below the headline into the story of the security issues that we saw this past weekend, right? Of the shooting that we saw at the hotel where the Correspondents' Dinner was happening this past weekend. For the World Cup, for visits from diplomats, security always top of mind, especially after a recent politically motivated violent incident like that, or allegedly politically motivated violent incident like that. So earlier today, New York Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani were speaking about the World Cup and the games that will be taking place in New York City. Let's listen in and see if they address any of those things and also just see what they have to say in general.
It's good. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a true pleasure to be here with all of you, and I want to acknowledge we have our Governor, Kathy Hochul, who is here with us. A true partner in this work and so much more. We have our Staten Island Borough President, Vito Fossella, who's here with us. We want to thank the CEO of the New York, New Jersey Host Committee, Alex Lasry. We want to thank... Sorry, yes, we could give... We will do the pause for everyone. We have our administration's World Cup czar, Maya Honda. We have Justin Brannon, the Senior Director of Major Event and Operations at the state level. We have Mike Cusick, a former colleague, who is now the president of the Staten Island Economic Development Corporation. Megan Sillis, the president of Staten Island University Hospital. Eric Landau, the president of Brooklyn Bridge Park. Christy Hoos, the events director of the New York, New Jersey Host Committee. We have John Katzimatidis, who is also here with us. And we have the acting president CEO of our EDC, Jenny Pack, as well as Gary Perrone, the general manager of the Staten Island Ferry Hawks, and so many others who are standing here alongside us as we celebrate what is truly an exciting moment and an exciting announcement for the entirety of our city. Now, 45 days from today, the world will come together to watch Mexico versus South Africa kick off the World Cup at the Azteca in Mexico City. For millions, this game holds a special resonance. It is the same matchup as the opening match of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. All you need to say is Shabalala, goal, Bafana Bafana, goal for South Africa, goal for all Africa. And countless fans are transported back to that incredible moment. But when we remember the World Cup, we don't just remember how sweetly Shabalala struck that ball or how Papa Bouba Diop took the incredible winner for Senegal against France in 2002, or Romelu Lukaku stepping over a 94th minute pass to allow Nasser Chadli to score what was the winner for Belgium against Japan in 2018. We also remember the family members we celebrated alongside. the grandparents who shouted even louder than us that no era penal, the strangers who, for one brief moment in a bar or public park, became the best friends that we'd ever known. That is the beauty of the World Cup. The world's game truly brings the world together. And as we prepare to host the World Cup right here in our backyard, we want to do everything in our power to make it more affordable for fans to make those memories. And so I'm proud to stand here alongside so many other partners at city, state, and at the World Cup Host Committee to announce that if the best things in life are free, so too should the World Cup fan experience. That is why we are delighted to say that we will be hosting 5 free official fan events, 1 in each borough, featuring live viewings, local food offerings, and so much more. These events were not initially set to be free, but the world's game should belong to the world. And so we've made the decision together for fans to be able to watch that together without having to spend $1. Now make no mistake, these are not simple one-day affairs. Some of them will last weeks. In Queens, it'll be held at the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center from June 11th to 27th. In Manhattan, fans can watch at the Fan Village in Rockefeller Center from July 6th to the 19th. In the Bronx, it'll be held at the Bronx Terminal Market on June 13th and 14th. Staten Islanders will be able to watch at Staten Island University Hospital Community Park from June 29th until July 2nd. And Brooklynites will have quite the backdrop at Brooklyn Bridge Park from June 13th to July 19th. Now, this is just one small part of our commitment to making the World Cup one that every New Yorker can afford to take part in. Every fan should be able to watch the greatest tournament on earth without having to dip into their savings. Today, we take the first step of many towards fulfilling that process. And now, before I pass it on, I do also just want to ask for a round of applause for everyone who is here who made this day possible. Truly, I want to thank all of you. Because announcements such as these are not ever made thanks to one person. It is thanks to a committee and to partners at every single level of government. And so it is my pleasure to welcome up to the microphone a partner in this endeavor, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Good afternoon, everyone, and want to recognize all the great leaders that have joined us here today, and I'll get to our mayor in a moment. I've got a couple comments about him, and they're all good. But also Deputy Mayor Julie Su, Maya Handa, the World Cup czar from the Office of the Mayor. Alex Lasry, thank you for the stepping up and saying yes to be the chair of our host committee and the entire host committee, and Justin Branham, who's my senior director of major operations, major event operations. I realized I didn't call him my own World Cup czar because I think he wanted to make sure he had a job when the World Cup was done. So he convinced me to change it to major event operations. So well played. And our borough president, Vita Fasella, and John Katsimatidis, and so many others who are here today. This is a spectacular day. As I came to the city after some meetings this morning, I'm heading back up to an Albany. Just a reminder how extraordinary this place is. And the members from the rest of the world who may not know that are going to soon find out. But I want to say, I stand here not just as the first soccer mom governor in the entire state of New York, but also as a diehard Ted Lasso fan. And who doesn't remember the hapless Richmond Greyhounds who got a lot of us through the pandemic. It was a great escape, and I learned more about the sport than I ever did as a mom watching my kids play on the sidelines as my husband coached them. But, our thought today is this. If you can't get to the World Cup is coming to you. And that's the commitment that the mayor and I are making, as well as this host committee. And I want to give a special shout out again to the mayor, who wears his passion on his sleeve, a diehard Arsenal football fan, who's someone who, like I do, we've talked about this during a Buffalo Bills game, understanding the highs and the lows, the great highs, the exhilaration of sports, but also the lows that go along. And it sort of prepares you for our jobs, we agreed. So we're in a good place. But your passion for this sport and for this city is exactly what we need right now as we showcase New York City and this region to the entire world. So I'm proud to work alongside of you with what has been a 10-year effort. As we know, it's the largest single sporting event on the planet. That's not an overstatement. And in just a matter of days, it's going to take place, and billions of fans in every corner of the globe will be united in captivating experiences watching one intense, physical, exhilarating sport. And it's coming to us We're expecting more than 1.1 million visitors to come to the region, generating about $3.3 billion of economic activity. That's all good, and that's great for the visitors coming here. But today is all about the fans, the people who live in this region, to make sure that they don't feel overlooked by this process. And so the diehard fans have been waiting a long time, and the real soccer aficionados who've been little kids, grew up playing soccer, probably never imagined that this event would be coming to their hometown. So this is something we want to celebrate and remind them that there is no greater sports community in the world than this region. We have championship teams across the board. So we are intense about our teams and our sports. That's not an understatement here as well. But also, I come from a world of sports. Not that I played. It wasn't what women of my generation did very much, but we certainly were very good spectators. My own father was on a national Gaelic football team, and so he knows the rough and tumble. I spent my childhood watching Dad play as a little girl, sitting on Sunday afternoons at the Irish Center in Buffalo, but he was on a team of people from Chicago, Boston, New York, and abroad, and he was supposed to play in a championship game over in Ireland. He was selected to be on that team, and something happened where he couldn't go. I was born that year. So Dad missed his big opportunity, but I think he's forgiven me since then. But there's no better place on this planet than to be watching the World Cup than here in New York City, because we have every community around the globe represented. Think about the Ecuadorian community in Jackson Heights, what this means to them. The Senegalese community in Harlem, the Haitian community in Flatbush. This is everything to them. It's going to lift them out of their day-to-day experiences and transport them to a place of unity and excitement shared by billions across the globe. So I want to say, New York isn't just hosting the World Cup. New York is the World Cup. That's a broad statement, but I'm going to stand behind that. I'm sure the mayor agrees as well. This is the place. So this Met Stadium may hold 80,000 people, but this moment belongs to millions of New Yorkers, and how we take advantage of this once-in-a-generation opportunity. So I'm proud that, as you announced here today, that there's communities, 5 boroughs will be all experiencing free Fan Fest opportunities. 5 boroughs, 5 events, 1 New York, and other days to participate. But also, New York State, we want to make sure that we're offering this as well. June 12th, beginning June 12th and beyond at Stony Brook University, free large-scale viewing events, and June 19th at Conisco Dam Plaza in Westchester County. That's just getting started. We created a World Cup one-day permit, cutting the red tape so bars and restaurants across the state can host outdoor watch parties and fan activations throughout the tournament. And we're extending the hours. This is important. It's one of the most popular things I ever do is when I extend bar areas or hours for our fans. So businesses can stay open until 4 a.m. Imagine that's 4 a.m. Is that a big deal to everybody? Well, in Buffalo, that's always open till 4 a.m., so it's not a big deal for me. But this is so you can be open whenever a match is live, because we're not telling New Yorkers to go home when the stoppage time is still ticking. So beyond the 5 boroughs, we're supporting community watch parties and culture events from the North Country to the East End of Long Island, making sure it's affordable for all. And also, that's why through our New York Kicks program, something we're negotiating the budget right now, $5 million to invest in more soccer youth facilities in underserved communities across the state, seizing this opportunity to get more young people excited and getting them outdoors and offline, which we're always focused on as well. Because the next member of Team USA might be a kid from the Bronx or Rochester who just needs a place to play.
Okay, welcome back to Live Impact News. Before returning to our press conference that we were listening to before the break, we're actually showing you an aerial view of Slater, Missouri, where they have experienced what has looked like a significant amount of storm damage here this afternoon. Now, of course, Hunter Forst was here with us for the forecast, and he very specifically, I mean, almost live on air, he was kind of diagramming a tornado warning that had appeared in Missouri. Now, we don't know necessarily that this was from a tornado. What you see here are all of the emergency vehicles. If you notice those trucks with sort of the long white poles on the top of them, those are going to obviously go up to repair electrical damage and can reach higher areas where there may be issues. Looks like they are taking us sort of all around this area. Before we went live out here, we did see some structures that had been relatively decimated by whatever it is that they're dealing with today. Again, we don't know that it was a tornado. We only know that Hunter Forst was here and told us that large swaths of Missouri were under tornado warnings. And then we get this particular update that Slater, Missouri is showing aerial footage live of storm damage. Now, nothing we've seen since we took this picture live on our platform has shown a specific damage that has taken place. We did see it before when we were making our way through the break. I think maybe over to the right of that second circle there might be a little bit of damage, but we don't want to speculate too much. We'll see if this helicopter is working to find some. We also don't know entirely what this structure is with all of these cylinders that are kind of coming up out of the ground. And go back over to what looks more like a city of sorts. And let's see here. Is that does, oh, that's certainly damage right there. That now, okay. So that is a clear look at some of what we were seeing before. If you see those cylinders there that probably resembled the cylinders on the right a little more, and now at least two of them have been completely wiped off of their feet. And then the one that is still standing is covered in debris and has about half of another one of those structures leaning up against it. So that a clear look at some damage, and we can see homes, what look like homes in the back that appear not to be damaged, which is great to see. We don't have any word on injuries or further impacts, but right there you clearly see some damage from whatever storm has hit this area. And based on the sort of very finite areas of damage, you wonder if that speaks to what type of weather they've been experiencing, where you see a couple of sort of freestanding structures there that are perfectly fine, and then right next to them is four structures that have all been heavily, heavily damaged, two of which were wiped completely out. It looks like they're right next to a train track, I guess, but it doesn't look like those trains have been impacted in any way, though they are not running back and forth. There are cars driving around, so it looks like maybe some things are opening back up in the area, but clearly some damage there in Missouri from some sort of severe weather, which is what Hunter Forst warned us about. He was speaking more specifically about the St. Louis metropolis area, but here we see in Slater there's damage here as well. So that's something that we'll look out for. We'll bring you any updates as we get them. Now, do we want to go back to this World Cup press conference for a bit, Naya, and just listen in briefly here as we continue to approach one of the biggest tournaments in the world coming here to the United States? It's an event that was mentioned by Caroline Leavitt during the White House press briefing earlier today, as she spoke about all these big upcoming events and the security that is going to be needed to make sure they're safe for everyone in the wake of this weekend's political violence. So let's go back out to New York as they continue to discuss their hosting of certain World Cup matches.
So New York State, we want to make sure that we're offering this as well. June 12th, beginning June 12th and beyond at Stony Brook University, free large-scale viewing events, and June 19th at Conisco Dam Plaza in Westchester County. That's just getting started. We created a World Cup one-day permit, cutting the red tape so bars and restaurants across the state can host outdoor watch parties and fan activations throughout the tournament. And we're extending the hours. This is important. It's one of the most popular things I ever do is when I extend bar areas or hours for our fans. So businesses can stay open until 4 a.m. Imagine that's 4 a.m. Is that a big deal to everybody? Well, in Buffalo, that's always open till 4 a.m., so it's not a big deal for me. But this is so you can be open whenever a match is live, because we're not telling New Yorkers to go home when the stoppage time is still ticking. So beyond the 5 boroughs, we're supporting community watch parties and culture events from the North Country to the East End of Long Island, making sure it's affordable for all. And also, that's why through our New York Kicks program, something we're negotiating the budget right now, $5 million to invest in more soccer youth facilities in underserved communities across the state, seizing this opportunity to get more young people excited and getting them outdoors and offline, which we're always focused on as well. Because the next member of Team USA might be a kid from the Bronx or Rochester who just needs a place to play. And that's not all. We have $500,000 of Community World Cup grant program to support locally led viewings, as well as the large events we're hosting as well. So FIFA's bringing the World Cup to New York. New York is ready. Ready for the fans, ready for the neighborhood restaurants and bars to be packed wall to wall every day, and ready for the electric, indescribable feeling that when your team scores, the whole city erupts at once. So, as I said, there's no place on earth better to do this than right here, right now in New York. So this summer, the world is coming to us, and we are ready. Thank you very much. Let me introduce the World Cup czar from the City Hall, Maya Handa.
Thank you so much to everyone for being here today. Proud to be here, and also proud to be representing Senegal, one of the 9 countries that will be playing in New York. New Jersey, sorry. I'm going to be extremely brief and just say we are thrilled to be standing up here with our partners from the host committee, the state of New York, to announce these free fan fests. From day one, this administration's priority has been affordability and to ensure that 8 million New Yorkers can benefit from this tournament. And we're really proud to say that residents of all 5 boroughs will have the opportunity to attend free official fan fests in their communities. I want to briefly acknowledge the years of work that went into this announcement and name some of the staff from the city, state, and host committee whose coordination, planning, and execution have made this possible. Bruce, Christy, Chris, Bettina, Carly, Ellen, Justin, and so many others. This is the first announcement of many that will highlight our venues, arts, culture, restaurants, and small businesses across the city. We are very excited in the coming weeks to share more opportunities for New Yorkers and visitors to celebrate their teams and watch and play soccer all across the city for free. Thank you so much, and now would love to introduce Alex Lasry, the CEO of the New York, New Jersey Host Committee.
Well, thank you, guys. We are very excited about today. This has been an incredible partnership through the leadership of the mayor and the governor, and we are really excited about what we're able to announce today. And in less than 50 days, we are going to be welcoming the world to our shores. This is going to be the largest World Cup in history, with 104 matches across 3 countries in just under 40 days. New York, New Jersey will be hosting 8 matches, including what is likely to be the largest sporting event in human history, the World Cup final. For just some perspective, the last World Cup final was viewed by the same amount of people as the last 13 Super Bowls combined. So if football is America's sport, football is the world's sport, and we will be welcoming the world to our shores in just under 40 days. Sorry, just under 50 days. So we do have a big responsibility to put on a show that can only get in New York and New Jersey. We're expecting millions of people and over $3 billion of economic impact. And that's what makes the World Cup so unique, and more unique than any other event that we've hosted. It's not just a weekend. It's going to be 6 weeks. And so our job is to ensure that fans have affordable and accessible ways of participating in the World Cup, whether you're inside or outside the stadium. And that's the opportunity that's in front of us. How do we get the millions of fans who will be visiting our shores to enjoy the experience, who are going to be able to experience the World Cup in an authentically New York way? And thanks to Governor Hochul and Mayor Mamdani's leadership, we're able to do just that. Today we're announcing our 5-borough fan engagements, which will drive fans all across our great city and state. And the best part is, it's free. What makes this truly special isn't going to be what happens inside the stadium, but it's how we bring the World Cup to every borough, every neighborhood, and every community. Because there's no place better positioned to host a moment like this than New York, New Jersey. This is where global events happen, it's where culture, sports, and community come together, and where the world comes to experience something unforgettable. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. The Staten Island University Hospital Community Park will become an official New York, New Jersey fan zone, bringing together New Yorkers and visitors from around the world to celebrate the game together. And our investment in this community lasts well beyond the World Cup. So I'm proud to announce that the host committee is contributing $200,000 towards the new LED scoreboard, an upgrade that not only prepares this venue for World Cup moments, but also creates a permanent benefit for this stadium and for Staten Island. And that's been our approach across the region, leveraging the global stage of the World Cup to deliver real, lasting impact locally. So we're ready to welcome the world, and just as important, to make sure that the people who call this region home are part of every moment. Thank you.
We're going to take some on-topic questions, and we have our World Cup czar, our host committee CEO, and Senior Director of Major Event Operations to answer questions as well. The governor has to go to another commitment. Go ahead, Melissa. Oh, sorry, Melissa, could you use the microphone?
Oh,
Thank
sure,
you.
sorry. Hi. Can you tell us how people get tickets for this? How will people have access? And also, what do you say to the head of the Port Authority who has suggested that New Yorkers should consider working from home during the World Cup here?
You know, what I would say is that we are incredibly excited, as the head of the host committee said, to not only welcome the world to New York City, but also welcome to New Yorkers to what this experience will be. I can tell you that some of my favorite memories as a New Yorker growing up in this city has also been the way in which our city has come alive when the World Cup has been hundreds, thousands of miles away. And we're excited for everyone who will come. We're excited for all those who are here. And we're looking forward to showing exactly what the governor has said, which is that New York City is ready. And when it comes to the specificity of the fan zones, I'll just bring you up to answer any of the questions.
So on the fan zones for tickets, you'll be able to go to our website and you'll be able to get the tickets for all the fan zones.
Thank you.
It's free 99.
That's right.
And Marcia, right
We're
here.
prepared. We feel fully prepared. Yes.
Given what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, if you're going to change your security for the FIFA events that you're going to be sponsoring here, for all the events that are going to be going on all over the city, but also in protecting the city from all the other events that are going to be happening at the same time, by the way, including the visit of Prince Charles, who's coming this week, but focusing on FIFA, focusing on the other events that are going to happen at the same time, from the 250th anniversary, July 4th. It's a mixed bag of all kinds of things.
So I'll just first start, Marcia, to speak a little bit about what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Political violence is unacceptable, and it should have no place in our country. And I am relieved that President Trump and everyone who attended the dinner is safe. When it comes to the events that we are announcing here today, they are also events that we have been planning and coordinating with our police department to be fully prepared for. And so when we speak about these events, as well as the events that we will be coming together again and again to announce more of over the course of the next few weeks, we are going to be protecting New Yorkers at those events. They are events where New Yorkers can celebrate without the fear of any of what it is that you're describing. And that's the truth for the World Cup. It's the truth also for Sail 250, as well as the 250th anniversary of our nation, July 4th. These are all events where we are incredibly excited to welcome the world to our city, and that we are confident in our police department and our ability to keep people safe over the course of them.
Changed your thinking about what you have to do for security, because these are all really high-profile events, especially since so many people are going to be here for the FIFA events. Has it changed your thinking about how you make people safe?
Safety has been top of mind for us, and I'll be frank with you that what we saw at the press correspondents' dinner is one part of a very troubling reality across this country, which is how political violence has become part of our politics. And it is something that we are taking into consideration whenever we are planning anything in our city. And I'm fully confident in our city and in our police department to keep New Yorkers safe over the course of that, because the answer to this kind of violence can never be that we refuse to engage in public life. Showing New York City is welcome for the world and also those who live here is one way in which we show that there is no room for this kind of political violence to not only affect the way in which we live, but also to threaten the things that we look forward to over the course of this summer and beyond.
Other on topics. Henry, go ahead.
Hi, Mayor, right here.
Hey, how's it going, Henry?
Good. How you doing? Next one. That's always good. Yes. You've talked repeatedly, and people on the dais have talked repeatedly about the estimated $3 billion in economic benefit to the region, and you specifically have talked about spreading the love of that wealth all over the 5 boroughs. But there was a troubling report in Bloomberg late last week that said the hotels are not even keeping pace with last year, which didn't have anything on this scale coming to the city. So what is your concern, not just that this wealth won't be spread to the 5 boroughs, but we're not even going to see the traditional economic benefit that Manhattan normally sees?
Well, I'd say a few things. The first is that we know there are those across the world who are concerned about federal policies, about the presence of ICE. These are concerns that many New Yorkers share. And we are looking to showcase the fact that New York City is one that is eager to welcome the world to our 5 boroughs. And we're eager to do so because in many ways New York City is a reflection of the world. More than 3 million New Yorkers were born outside of this country. I'm one of them. And we also know that the statistics that you're citing are preliminary in the fact that nearly half of those who expect to attend a World Cup game in New York City, New Jersey, have not yet bought their tickets. And so we are excited to show both in this announcement and in the many to come that this is a city that will be one of the best ways to enjoy what is the most watched tournament in the world. And I also say this as someone who went to South Africa for the World Cup in 2010. Some of my fondest memories were at fan zones. It was not crying in the stadium when Luis Suarez stopped the goal-bound shot of the Ghanaian team. It was rather playing beach soccer in Durban. It was watching the World Cup final alongside so many others on a massive screen. It was the celebration and the opportunity to better explore South Africa as someone visiting. And I know that that will be the case for so many here. And we're excited to show that these fan zones are just the beginning of what the city will have to offer when it comes to this incredible tournament.
You say to business owners getting ready. I'll cite another, for instance, for you at the NFL draft over the weekend. There were a lot of Pittsburgh business owners who felt holding the bag because they didn't really see the benefit of people leaving the area where that event was. Are you worried people will just kind of go in and out of the Giant Stadium area and not really bring the benefit to the 5 boroughs?
So we are going to be doing a number of things to ensure that we don't just sit and hope that tourists will come and explore the city, but rather that we provide them with a guide of how to truly understand this city as a New Yorker, and we're very excited to announce them in the weeks and months to come. Thank
Monica, go ahead. Thank you. Mr. Mayor,
Oh, sorry, yes.
is there anything you plan to do to make the tickets more affordable or free? And is there capacity limit on those events you just mentioned today? Thank you.
So I'll pass the capacity question over to our CEO of the host committee. What I will say is that I've been very clear about where I stand on the affordability of tickets. Soccer is a game that was born out of the working class. The ticket prices that we are seeing are not ones that many working people could even dream of affording. And so I've said time and time again that we want to see as affordable of a tournament as possible. And what we're excited to show in this announcement, thanks to the incredible work of the host committee and so many partners across the city and the state, is that for many New Yorkers who we're never going to be able to go watch the game, that they actually have a place where they can go and watch and feel the excitement of that tournament. And on the capacity question.
Yeah, so for capacity at the U.S. Tennis Center, we're looking at around 10,000 people that can be there at one time. For here in Staten Island, we're looking at also probably around 5,000 to 10,000 people being able to fill the entire stadium. At Rockefeller Center, just part of Manhattan, just kind of go and have fun. If you could be there, and then in the Bronx, we're also looking at around 5,000 to 10,000 people as well. I think also what's important about this is these are just the host committee official events. New York City is going to have thousands of pop-ups and places to go, and I think that's what makes New York City and New Jersey so special as an event, as a host region, which is all of the things that are going to be happening from the bottom up. And we've got our small business rewards program that we want businesses to register for, which is going to people, fans and residents can go to the small businesses, get points, earn rewards, and that is another way that we're going to drive people all around the city and state and region.
All right, Jose from Univision.
Mayor, about the $150 the fans have to pay. And today, Congressman Gottheimer was complaining that in the contract it says New Jersey and New York. And New York has not provided any money for the transportation, even if most of the $400 million in tax revenue is going to go to New York. So the question is New York is going to provide some money for transportation, or is going to leave only that for New Jersey?
You know, the decision of what to charge for these tickets is a decision made by New Jersey Transit, and it's a decision that they're making because of the cost that comes with the host duties. And I empathize with the fact that what we see oftentimes is municipalities being left with a cost of a tournament that will generate $11 billion in revenue. What I can say is that what is within New York City's control, we are going to ensure it is the most affordable experience it can be, whether it comes from these fan fests or it comes from how we're looking to unlock the city as a whole for those who are coming to visit as well as for those who already live here.
Time for one or two more on topics before we move to off. Yeah, right here. Go ahead.
Hi, Mayor. I've got an on-topic question, and then I've got an off as well. Okay. So on the events that are being hosted, you know, there were, I think, up to 20 that were supposed to be hosted on DOT open streets, viewing parties, but your administration has been calling them off, citing feedback from the police department. Similarly, the NYPD has requested a limit on parks events during this time. But Open Streets organizers have told us, you know, that they host movie screenings for like 500 people all the time. So I'm wondering whether you agree with this NYPD assessment of their resources, or do you think they're overestimating how many people they need to, you know, guarantee safety at these events?
What I'll say is that today is one of many announcements that we're going to be making in the lead up to the World Cup. And one of those announcements will be regarding DOT watch parties. And we're excited to announce this because we're looking for this to be a tournament where New Yorkers can celebrate no matter where they are, no matter what borough they call home. And we're looking forward to ensuring that New Yorkers can do so. And we're going to be sharing that detail soon.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, let's give it up for our speakers one more time. Thank you so much. And now we'll have time for a few off-topic questions. We'll start with Emma right here in the middle.
Okay, so there you have it. Lots of exciting stuff coming out of that press conference. Obviously, discussions about security, those will remain, but also discussions about fan zones and initiatives to make sure that those visiting for the World Cup will be experiencing the city and also providing economic benefit to the city that they are in. So all of that still to come, as Zohran Mamdani clearly is making sure that New York City, or Zohran Mamdani and Kathy Hochul, both standing up at the podium to talk about New York's initiatives for this World Cup that is to come. So obviously we're all anticipating what's ahead this summer with the most significant international sporting event in the world coming to the United States. Olympics, World Cup, I guess it's debatable, right? But very few things capture the globe's attention like soccer. So we will see how that comes to North America. And hopefully the security concerns are a major focus and that all the necessary precautions are put into place. It certainly sounds like that's the goal based on all these press conferences that we see rolling in about this this topic. Now, we're going to take a brief commercial break here. When we get back, we've got the royal family is looking ready to touch down at Joint Base Andrews. We're keeping an eye on that. Their plane may have even just landed. We have a live feed up here, as you see on your screen, but we have not seen Charles III emerge from that plane to go about his 4-day trip here in the United States, including a meeting with President Trump. So we are going to take a break right now. We'll keep an eye on that. When we get back, we also have a tax referendum in Los Angeles County that has been a point of major debate, and there was a press conference today featuring healthcare workers on that referendum. We also, Abigail Spanberger spoke earlier today, the governor of Virginia. So we've got a couple more things we want to get to coming up after this. All right, we're back here on Live Impact News, where we still have yet to see King Charles III emerge here in the United States for his trip. And we are waiting him as the plane has landed at Joint Base Andrews. As you can see, we don't know that there will be comment from Charles upon his arrival. I strongly doubt it based on how we've seen these types of welcoming situations go in the past at the airport, but no worries because we've got plenty of other things that we want to get to here, including an interesting press conference that took place earlier today in California that we're still looking to learn more information about and to fully understand where it's headed. There's a ballot question campaign that held a press conference today between a Billionaire Tax Now coalition and healthcare workers in Los Angeles. So I'd like to listen in to that and see keep hospitals and ERs open in addition to Billionaire Tax Now, vote yes. All of those signs kind of included at this press conference. We just saw how a major state referendum can impact internal politics in any one of our states here. We just witnessed that in Virginia with our redistricting referendum. So let's take a listen and see what's going on in California with this particular initiative.
Good morning. So good to have you all here today. My name is Mayra Castañeda, and I am a healthcare worker for over 28 years and a member of SEIU United Healthcare Workers West. We are so proud to be a part of the growing coalition sponsoring the California Billionaire Tax Act and to be sharing today's exciting announcement. I've spent my career in healthcare taking care of my patients, fighting for safe staffing, and getting the resources for our communities as we all deserve. But despite that progress, California is now under serious threat. Our healthcare system is nearing a breaking point. We are facing a $1 billion in healthcare cuts that will devastate California's families. When funding is cut, it brings a world of pain. It means longer emergency room wait times, fewer healthcare workers, rural hospitals shutting down, delayed care, and lives lost that could have been saved. Yet, California is home to more billionaires than anywhere in the country. Ultra-wealthy billionaires have seen their fortunes skyrocket even as food, rent, gas prices increase, crushing working families who are struggling to stay afloat. So when hospitals are already starting to cut services, clinics are closing, and families are set to lose healthcare coverage, we say that those who have prospered from here in California can afford to invest a little more in keeping California running. This issue is incredibly important to the well-being of millions of Californians. It is a life or death situation. That's why we are so happy to share that we have collected over 1.5 million signatures. And the most important, we are filing those signatures today. It's clear that most Californians and most billionaires recognize how reasonable and necessary this proposal is, both to keep emergency rooms open and to save California businesses from closing. A very small group of the most controversial billionaires on the planet try to stop us. Try to stop us from being able to save our local emergency rooms and hospitals. But it is this David versus Goliath battle. David has just won the first round. With our signatures, we are demanding that billionaires pay their fair share so our hospitals, clinics, and emergency rooms can stay open. California voters have shown they are ready to fight to avoid healthcare cuts that will hurt millions. But our work is not over yet. Healthcare workers and our allies will not quit. We will be out there talking to voters, families, sharing the urgency of this moment, because we must act to keep patients alive and to protect our families. Now, I am pleased to welcome our next speaker, a mental health technician and an SEIU UHW member, Hani Nasib.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hani Nasib. I work as mental health tech at Northridge Hospital Medical Center. I've been 10 years with the hospital. Every single day we are dealing with a patient, more complex cases, dementia, violence, Alzheimer, and also we have a fewer staff because the work is really hard. At the same time, on the medical floor, sometimes we have just one CNA for 17 patients. Patient waiting longer, no quality of care. Many of them getting not the quality, the care we want. As you know, the hospital part of Common Spirit / Dignity Health, which depends heavily on Medicaid, 40% of the budget. Trump's Medicaid cuts have created a serious crisis across the system. The hospital, they start laying off people. Urgent care will be closed on June 30th for 10 people. Also, the operator, 8 co-worker, they're gonna be laid off. The co-worker, they are worried. Families actually, they are in danger. Northridge urgent care closed completely for the urgent care. Patient and surrounded the communities, also they're gonna lose access to someone to care of them. So these people, they are very worried who's gonna provide the care for them. That's why I did not stand alone and I fought for the health care. I stepped up to collect signatures for California tax billionaire, reach out to my church, neighborhood, and also I am one of the members of the pickleball community in Ventura County. So I went and I talked to every single one. I told them, I'm not selling anything to you. I'm just want to make sure you have insurance for yourself and for your loved one, okay, in the future. This is a really big impact for all of us as a coworker, first health in line, and also I just want to let you something very important. Totally, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we are making difference and what we have to support our neighborhood, our co-worker for healthcare. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hani. And I would like to welcome our next speaker, Jared Hamill, a member of Teamsters Local 396.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Jared Hamill. I'm proud to stand here today as a member of Teamsters Local 396 and a supporter of the California Billionaire Tax. I'm a delivery driver here in downtown LA. I work hard to support my family, my wife and 2 daughters, just like the majority of Californians. I live in Boyle Heights, a working class neighborhood where families struggle with rent and access to good quality health care, among a lot of other things. Yet, while we're working long hours, rain or shine, no matter the circumstances, we know that the richest people in this country are only getting richer. Billionaires are making record profits and still getting billions in tax cuts. These billionaires pay less of their share in taxes than the millions of workers here who are struggling to get by here in California. So every year, workers hear the same story, that there isn't enough to go around, that we need to cut this or that program. not enough to keep hospitals open, not enough to keep emergency rooms and clinics fully staffed, longer wait times at appointments. Not enough money to invest in healthcare, or our public schools, our food assistance programs, and programs that keep families out of crisis. Yet when it comes to corporate giveaways, givebacks, the rules suddenly change. Billions are available for tax breaks that benefit the largest companies, like one in particular in our industry that I'm not going to mention. So the rich are getting richer and the cost of living is going up. But we don't have to accept that. We don't have to accept a system where billionaires are paying less and the rest of us are left with facing closing hospitals, emergency rooms, closing our clinics in our times of need. I'm a proud Teamster because our union proves that when workers stand together, we fight back and we can win, and we can get more than just some crumbs. That's why we are so proud to support the California billionaire tax and to celebrate the turning in of over 1.5 million signatures today. We've rallied, we've spoke to our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, we've collected signatures, and together we are one step closer to having a California that is tipped in our favor. We deserve to be able to afford to see a doctor when we're sick. We deserve to know that our local hospital will be open and ready to treat us in an emergency. In a country as rich as ours, that's a basic right, a basic expectation, and the least that we deserve. And for anyone that has kids, how many times have you had to drop what you're doing to make a trip to the ER or to the clinic? Because things happen, and we rely on these places being open in our time of need. So on behalf of the Teamsters, I'm here to say that we will continue to do everything in our power to make sure that California billionaires pay their fair share to keep our hospitals open and our ERs open. Because workers and our families will not be left behind. We're not going to accept cutbacks while the 1% are getting richer and richer. And I'm going to end with a chant. When we say cut back, you say fight back. When we say cut back, fight back. Cut back, fight back. Thank you.
Okay, there you have it. Passionate, some chanting at the end of that particular press conference. Well, not the end, but the end for us as we were coming back in the studio. Cut back, fight back. That chant ringing out as that press conference comes to a conclusion. Now, we do have a couple of things going on here. We have a live feed that has just come up that will be a Department of Justice press conference on the Correspondents' Dinner and the political violence that we saw at that particular event. It does look like that's not starting for at least a brief moment here. Meanwhile, King Charles III has arrived in Washington, D.C. at Joint Base Andrews, as we have see him here shaking hands with service members as he makes his way onto United States soil. So Charles III has arrived. We will see if any meaningful diplomacy comes out of his meeting with President Trump, or at least maybe a change in rhetoric when it comes to the United States relationship with either the UK or NATO in terms of how things went with the war in Iran in terms of assistance or in terms of sort of performing as allies in that situation, if that makes sense. President Trump often publicly calling on NATO countries to engage with the war in Iran and was widely resisted in that task. So we'll see if King Charles, who President Trump has expressed admiration for in the past, coming to the United States and meeting with the president leads to any sort of more warm rhetoric towards the UK. For the time being, though, we just await that 4-day trip to truly get started as he just landed. Now, we are going to take a break here. When we get back, if our Department of Justice press conference has not begun, instead, we'll hear from Governor Abigail Spanberger for a moment. But first, a commercial. Okay, welcome back to Live Impact News. Let's go straight to Abigail Spanberger's press conference from earlier today on her first historic 100 days as governor.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for being here as we mark 100 days in office. Since day one, my administration has been focused on hitting the ground running to make the Commonwealth more affordable for Virginia families. We've been focused on making Virginia a great place to do business and a place to bring people together while we get all that work done. It is how I've done things my whole career. I've worked with anyone and everyone to find practical solutions to the problems and challenges facing us. I'm going to open up for a few questions in a couple moments, but I'd like to just say a couple words about what it is that we have been doing and where it is that we're headed. Firstly, we've done real work to tackle the most pressing challenge facing our friends and neighbors today, the high cost of living. Federal economic policies are raising costs and squeezing Virginians. Last year, Virginia's federal workforce was under attack because of reckless DOGE cuts. Now the so-called Big Beautiful Bill is threatening rural health care costs and availability across the board. Farmers have suffered because of federal tariff policies, and some have lost entire markets for their products. The list goes on and on. And that's exactly why I have made affordability and lowering costs the cornerstone of my administration thus far. A few weeks before I was inaugurated, I unveiled my Affordable Virginia Agenda, a package of solutions designed to be a first step towards lowering costs in healthcare, energy, housing, and I'm happy to report that on our 100th day in office, the entire Affordable Virginia Agenda is now law. And we are continuing to provide practical, tangible solutions for people in every corner of the Commonwealth. We're stopping predatory middlemen from hiking up prices on prescription drugs. We're capping the cost of insulin at $35. We're making long-term investments in clean energy and weatherization to keep utility costs down. We're incentivizing new home construction and affordable housing in Virginia and across all localities. Virginia is now the first state in the South to create a paid family medical leave program, and we are finally raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. We have done a lot in a short period of time, and we are just getting started. Secondly, during our first 100 days, my administration has been focused on continuing Virginia's sterling reputation as a great place to start or expand a business. We've announced more than $4.7 billion in new business investments across our Commonwealth and more than 3,000 new jobs. And there is a lot more to come. We've got some deals in the work that I will be excited to tell you about soon. For me, this work is about providing stability at a time when we are seeing so many challenging things coming out of Washington. We are focused on providing stability, predictability, and competence. That's the kind of administration that I've been working to build since our very first day in office. Shortly after my inauguration, I signed executive orders on things like cutting costs across our secretariats and executive agencies, and appointed cabinet secretaries focused on improving the lives of Virginians and taking those executive orders and their duty to lead state agencies serious. We have launched a series of emergency preparedness summits across the Commonwealth through the Secretariat of Public.
All right, that does it for Live Impact News this Monday. We hope to see everybody tomorrow.